ॐ नारायणः परो व्यक्तात् अण्डमव्ययसम्भवम् अण्डस्यान्तस्त्विमे लोकाः सप्तद्वीपा च मेदिनी ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः. What was the cliffhanger last time? Why bother with trying to have titiksha? Titiksha meaning kind of a forbearance. Why bother with forbearance? What do I get out of it? That was the um, cliffhanger. Why should I bother? Especially, this is a very important question for people living in countries where everything seems to be under one's control, starting with the temperature. The temperature is between these three fingers, the knob, or just one finger. You keep the arrow, you keep pressing the arrow up or down. So the temperature is at the fingertips to control, correct? And then everything else. You want something right now? Yes, you can have it. And then you order something, and then some noise comes, and then you wonder what it is, and it's a drone. That's why it's called a drone. It makes a droning noise, and then it drops it in your front yard. That's going to be the future of packages. And so everything seems to be going swimmingly well. And why should I bother? And then, here, this whole opposites. What are the opposites called? Heat, and this and that. And you're supposed to tan titikshasva bharata. Please keep on, observing them. Please keep on having this titiksha. That was what we studied last time. Titiksha means forbearance, the ability to sit with the discomfort without needing to change it all the time. Why would anyone do that? Especially if you don't have to bear with the discomfort, why on earth will anyone bear with the discomfort? No need. This is just, human tendency. The human tendency is to get attracted to comfort and then go away from discomfort. That is the human tendency. In the people who are body identified, basically what it is. So there is a certain kind of a training involved to to mm, to allow this observation within oneself, to see that there is some separation between myself and the body. But then why undergo this training? What do I get out of this? This is where the cliffhanger was. And then let us look at this thing here. What happened to it? Yeah, here we go. And Adi Shankara also, I think not also, actually, we are all coming in the tradition. So Adi Shankara was the learned from the Upanishad, and the Upanishad loves cliffhangers. And in the same vein, Adi Shankara's segue bhashya, meaning a connective commentary to the next verse, verse number 15, is also in the same cliffhanger style. शीतोष्णादीन् सहतः किं स्यात्. This is a cliffhanger. शीतोष्णादीन्, शीतं च उष्णं च, you know shitoshna, and then adi, etc. Then you have sukha, dukkha, all these things, other kinds of difficulties. physical difficulties, emotional difficulties, mental difficulties, and all complaints thereof, sahatah, for the one who bears. Kim Syat, what will happen? What is to be gained here? Here everything is under my control, and then you want me to not exercise that control. You must have some reason for it. What is that? Iti Shrino. Now listen. Why Bhagavan says that please get to the place of this forbearance. यं हि न व्यथयन्त्येते पुरुषं पुरुषर्षभ यं हि न व्यथयन्त्येते पुरुषं पुरुषर्षभ समदुःखसुखं धीरं सोमृतत्वाय कल्पते समदुःखसुखं धीरं सोमृतत्वाय कल्पते. Then the reward is mentioned in verse 15. And Bhagavad Gita, from the Bhagavad Gita, all the corporate managers, leaders, etc., learned the carrot stick technology. Yeah. So sometimes stick and sometimes carrot, and then that is how you kind of dangle something and then make that very alluring, so that all the people get hooked on that. And then so the Bhagavad Gita understands human psychology very well. And so here, let us look at this verse. What does it say? Kalpate is the verb. Atmanepada. Kalpate. Kalp, to make ready, to to set in motion, to construct, all kinds of things. It's a very versatile verb. Kalpate makes ready, makes fit. And then of course, then you have it begs the question, what kalpate makes fit for what? Amritatvaya kalpate, makes fit for immortality. Okay, okay, this is sounding very good. This is sounding excellent. Oh, why does immortality sound good? Because that is what one wants. No, but my life is such a mess. I don't want this at all. Even if somebody were to say that, let us really think about this. Even if somebody were to say this, this is actually what happened in a couple of years ago, maybe 1 year ago. The Turkish leader was going in in his van with a whole entourage. He was crossing a bridge, and then he happened upon a man who was about to jump off the bridge, ready to end his life. So then he stopped, and then he himself got out, found out that the man was drowning in debt and had some other difficulties. And then he said, okay, okay, don't worry, we will take care of the debt. And please don't do this, you know. And what standing, if after talking to me you jump off the bridge, what standing will I have with the people, So please don't jump off the bridge. And the man complied. And this was a very interesting, made for a very interesting headline. And then it also made something which is very clear, that even a person supposedly on the brink of giving up one's life because of despair can be easily in 2 minutes convinced out of it. He got to ride in the in the entourage. He was taken back to his house or wherever, and then everything seemed to be okay. So this shows that even though somebody is courting mortality, they're not really wanting to be mortal. They're not interested in being mortal. They just don't feel that there is another way out. That is the problem. Even the person on the brink of suicide is told, you know what, that's not a big amount, let us take care of this, and then let us see what you need. Let us put you in some counseling, and so that you don't harm yourself. And let us see what is at the root cause of all this. Is there an addiction? Is there some kind of a, some gambling or some other kind of addiction going on? Let us see. And the person is grasping at anything. The person is ready to grasp at straws. And so, therefore, this is giving us a very important clue that even the person on the brink of a desperate act is still interested in immortality. And if the concept of immortality seems far away, then you can just use the word forever. How many people don't want forever? Nobody will raise their hands. Forever, forever. The only problem is we attach the concept of forever onto things that are never forever. This marriage is forever. Big problem. The marriage is not forever. You are forever. And then that, not knowing that, the desire for that forever is projected onto things that are never forever. They are never forever. Marriage finite, and the what's that? The bodies entering into this matrimony finite, the minds finite, senses finite, the house in which the married couple is going to live finite, the children that they are going to have finite, everything finite. The problem is this mix up of wanting to make the finite infinite, and the strife is so much, the struggling to make the finite, quote unquote, make the finite into infinite, is so difficult, so much, it takes up so much time, effort, energy, that in the process the infinite is taken for the finite. So there is a twofold uh, projection on the finite. The infinite is superimposed, so to speak. So I want everything to be forever. The problem is every word, everything that I see, everything that I can objectify is already time bound. In Sanskrit we have a nice expression, drishta nashta swabhavah syat. Drishta nashta swabhava means as you see it is disintegrating, as you see it is destroyed, like the Zen master's teaching to his student. So one fellow went and got this wonderful bone china cup with a lid for the master. Present, Guru Dakshina. Please teach me this. Here it is. And the teacher did not even touch the gift. And he just looked at it and he said, "Why? It is broken." And the student was mortified. "Oh no, how did this happen? And how did I not see this?" And he looked everywhere. He took it out of its, packaging, looked and everything. He did not see a break. He said, "Master, it is not broken." And the master said, "Yes, it is broken." "No, no, master, see, it is not broken." "Yes, it is broken." And then finally, the student understood that he was getting a Zen lesson right then and there. This is what is called drishta nashta swabhava. As you see, it is aging. As you see yourself on Zoom, the body is aging. Yeah. No, but how can it age in 1 second, 1 minute? Forget 1 minute. It ages in 1 second. Why? Because you're always seeing yourself in the past. Past, past, past. Past body, past mind, past senses. The whole thing is seen in the past. Because you see, in order to see, what do you need? You need light. The eyes have to be blessed with light, either of the sun or of the artificial light, to be able to see. The light, by the time it packs its toothbrush in a little kit bag and starts to travel, it travels very very fast, 186,000 miles per second. So it doesn't look like it's a lot of time. You just see it immediately. You see yourself immediately standing in front of the mirror, in front of Zoom. You see your reflection immediately. But really, is it immediately? Because maybe 1 second has elapsed. And so, by the time you look at yourself and admire your body, what happens? You have aged by a second. You're seeing yourself in the past. When you look at the sky, you're seeing the sky of the past. You look at the you look at the stars, they are all from the past, 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 past. So really speaking, it's aging, everything is changing, everything is deteriorating, everything is disintegrating. Drishta nashta swabhava. As you look, it just turns into powder. It's like a table, a kitchen table that has been set upon by termites. These termites are actually a wonderful creation of Bhagavan, to show the concept of mithya. And then in certain places, especially if you live in the southern United States, you have to get termite insurance first thing. Forget fire, forget earthquake. First, you have to take care of these. You have to take care of these termites. You have to insure yourself because the table looks very intact. You just try to sit on it, and then you're sitting on a heap of dust after dislocating lumbar 5. Okay, so this is this is what it is. It just turns into powder, but it appears to be intact. Why? Because they are very hard working, and they eat from inside out. The whole house can collapse like this. And so therefore this is drishta nashta swabhava. And and this is why that forever seems to be forever elusive. Elusive forever, and forever elusive. But why? Because I'm looking for this forever in places where it is not. The first problem. Where the forever is not, I want it to be there. I want the forever to be there in this body. And so what happens? Like Indra and Virochana, who approached Lord Prajapati for the knowledge, and then Virochana being the king of demons. And therefore, because of his presence, Prajapati did not want to teach at all, because he was not a fit candidate. And more about that we'll see. He was not a fit candidate for knowledge, so Prajapati did not want to teach. So Prajapati said, "Oh, gentlemen, you want to see the Atma?" He clapped his hands, and somebody brought a big vat of water. "See the Atma." And they saw their reflection and twirled their handlebar mustaches, and then what? And then they admired their biceps and triceps and their crowns and jewels and everything, and they said, "Aha, this is wonderful. Atma is so good looking." Maybe that's how they got this whole what is that, this positive affirmation. When you look in the mirror, you're supposed to say, "Hey, good looking." Maybe they learnt it from this Upanishad alone, from what Indra and Virochana said to their reflections. And then so this is basically the mistake. So Atma means I, and we have already seen that this I is as though dwelling in this body mind sense complex. It is not the sum total of the body mind sense complex, and so therefore this indweller is not affected by whatever happens to this body mind sense complex. Therefore, Arjuna, learn to observe whatever happens to the body mind sense complex. This is where we have come. But if you don't know this, and if this is not taken seriously, then one's whole premium will be on on things that, on things that give immediate gratification. And the immediate gratification is understood and recognized by the sense organs. So therefore, sense gratifications. I want comfort. I want to be happy. What is happiness? Being, not arguing for 5 minutes at home. That is happiness. But then I want that to be forever. And that forever, I keep searching in places not forever. Like the grandma's embroidery needle. Grandma lost her embroidery needle and was looking for it in the village square. And then very soon, a helpful crowd gathered, and then until one young person had the viveka, the discrimination, the wisdom to ask, Granny, where did you lose the needle? Oh, in my hut back there. Well, why are we looking for it here? Because I don't have electricity in the home. Here in the village square is a well lit place. This is our problem, looking for things where they are not. Looking for the forever where it is not. And so, where is this forever? The forever is the truth of the looker, the seeker. You. You are forever. But why don't I see it? Because it is not something to be seen. It is not something that is capable of being an object. Oh, then how do I recognize it? How to recognize that which cannot be seen? Then how will I have this eye which is forever if it cannot be seen? Well, it cannot be seen as an object of the sense organs, as an object of your inference. Yes, in that way it cannot be seen at all. But it can be seen. Why? Because it is evident to you. It is already evident to you. For that which is available, for that which is available, lit by the light of the sun, you don't need an additional flashlight. In bright daylight, if you're looking for something, you can look for it in the light of the sun itself. You don't need another torch to be able to look for it because it is redundant. Similarly, to deploy a means of knowledge in order to understand the eye is not only impossible, it is not needed, it is redundant. Because the eye, like sunlight, is self evident. You don't need to light up the sunlight with another source of light in order to make the sunlight evident. Similarly, the light of Atma, all pervasive, self evident. The self evident I does not need to be made evident by a means of knowledge, sight, sound, etc., 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 etc. Doesn't need to be made evident. It's already you. Oh, but how do you know I am self evident? Come and see me after class. I will tell you how I know. What will you do? I will give you a little pinch. And then when you say, ow, I will say, okay, see, that means you exist. All these shenanigans are not necessary. Why? Because I am is self evident. I am, I am, I am, I am, I am, I am, ahamasmi, 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 ahamasmi. I am, I am, I am. That I am is already evident. And that which is already evident, you don't need to make anything else for this. You don't need to make it evident. Thank God. And so the I that I'm looking for, the happy I, the I that never comes to end, the forever I, the happy I, the all knowing I is already there. It needs to be known properly because it's mixed up in what we call anatma, not I. It is completely identified with the world of not I. Why? Because the world of not I is easily evident to the sense organs. And the I, in association with the body mind sense complex, learns to objectify all kinds of things and then be the subject. That is basically what it likes to do. And so therefore this is this is very very important to understand, that the forever is what one seeks. The forever, the Amritatvam, is not understood because it is centered on the I, which is not available for a separate means of knowledge, which doesn't need to have a separate means of knowledge because it is Svatah Siddha, it is evident to itself, and everything becomes evident to it. So then, so why should I bear with cold and heat and sukha and dukkha? Because this ability to not be affected, amritatvaya kalpate, makes one fit for the pursuit of the forever, a very funny kind of a pursuit, like like a cat chasing its own tail. Sometimes, the animals at home get the crazies, the dogs, the cats, etc. They just go round and round and round. That is akin to our situation here. And we have to make a U-turn, pun intended, because it is you who is going to turn around and focus on yourself rather than on everything else. So, how to focus on yourself when the mistake centered on the I as the body, mind, sense complex is taken away? Then it is easy to focus on the I that one wants to be, on the I that one already is, on the I that one wants to know. And so, what to do for that? Titikshasva, we saw that in the last uh, the last 14th verse, we saw that. Tan stitikshasva bharata. Please observe, learn to observe. What do you get by observing the difficult situations in which one is? By observing difficulties that which one cannot get out of, then what happens is that you get a space between the observer and the observed. And so amritatvaya kalpate. Who amritatvaya kalpate? Saha. Who? And no, but here it is so, yeah, that is so because because that is so because of some sandhi rules, visarga sandhi rules. Saha amritatvaya kalpate. This person becomes ready, becomes fit for the pursuit of amritatvam, which is, in other words, the pursuit of one's own self. And who is this person? Yam, for one, the one for whom he indeed na vyathayanti. Ete yam etena vyathayanti. Yam purusham etena vyathayanti. For that person for whom these, ete, what these? Shita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukkha, etc. That we saw last time. Hot, cold, cold, hot, cold, hot, hot, cold, hot, too cold, too hot, sad, happy, sad, happy, this yo-yo. This the one who is having this yo-yo existence, and the one who trains themselves to not to come under the spate of these changing things in one's life. Ete means sukha dukkha shitoshnadayah. Ete, these sukha dukkha, these conditions of the body mind sense complex, the conditions that afflict the body mind sense complex, do not disturb. Na vyathayanti, do not afflict, do not disturb the which person. And who is this? Purusham, that person, the one for whom there is no disturbance because of the sukha dukkha alternating in everyday lives, you know, and because of the shita ushna, physical conditions that keep on changing in one's life. Hey Purusharshabha. Arjuna is called by many names. And Bharata, Purusharshabha. Purusharshabha means, you know, uh, literally it means a bull among men, but really that's not how we translate. The one who stands out, like a bull does among cows. That is the idea. So it's not that Arjuna has grown some horns and he is moving in the battlefield. That's not, we shouldn't take it literally. This is a metaphor. So, Purusharshabha, O leader of men. There seems to be a slight trolling on part of Lord Krishna here. Why? Because, a little bit of a trolling and a little bit of a teaching. Both we will see. Why a little bit of trolling? A little bit of trolling because there is, you are supposed to be the leader of all men. So you please don't chicken out. And and then because you're already chickening out from this battle because it is uncomfortable. So there's a little bit of trolling and a little bit of teaching in the form of encouragement. Come on, you are a bull among men. You stand out. You are a leader, and this teaching is specially for you. Hey Purusharshabha. So, yam hi na vyathayanti ete, yam purusham ete hi na vyathayanti. For which person these conditions do not disturb. And who is this person? Dhiraha, Dhiram. Dhiram means the one who is endowed with the buddhi. Buddhi means intellect, the faculty of reasoning, the faculty of coming to certain logical conclusions, the intellect. So you mean that the one who is, you mean everybody doesn't have an intellect? No, no, they have an intellect, but the dhira is the one who uses it. The one who knows how to use the brain is called dhira. Otherwise, if you don't use the intellect, you lose the intellect. And so therefore we see in people who are traveling and all, at least before the pandemic when I used to travel, everybody on the plane used to be playing the numbers game, Sudoku, because somewhere they read that this staves off dementia. And then so they will be writing the numbers all wrong, and then they will be erasing it and writing it again, but then it occupies the mind in certain ways. A mind is a terrible thing to waste. A buddhi is a terrible thing to waste. But then playing Sudoku is, from the standpoint of the Shastra, is just an auxiliary exercise. Because even playing Sudoku, etc., keeping the mind sharp, that also is a preparatory exercise. Kalpate, it makes you fit for the pursuit of the truth of yourself, which is the only use and the best use of the intellect. Otherwise, one might as well be grazing, you know, in the grass, in the pasture. One might be put out to pasture. That's all. What's the difference? What's the difference between the person and a cow? No difference. Cow eats, the person eats, human being eats. The cow sleeps. The human being also sleeps. Cow knows to reproduce, the human beings also have progeny, etc. The cow is frightened and it attacks. It's defensive. The human being is ultra defensive, more defensive than the cow. What's the difference? The difference is only in the ability to understand that I have self ignorance, that I want this forever, that I want to be happy that I want to be whole, that I want to be full, I want to be limitless, in other words. That's the only difference. The cow is not capable of that and need not be capable of that. The cow is how it is. It is happy being what it is. It's only the human intellect that is blessed with the ability to have the pursuit for this knowledge. That's the only life form. Even though I'm assured that pet dogs and cats are taking the classes, and I see them occasionally, coming between the student and the computer. I see them, and but still, they are not taking the classes. They are there because you are sitting there. If you get up and go, they will not be sitting there watching the classes, and they need not watch the classes. That is your prerogative. And so, from the standpoint of the teaching, the Shastra is very unequivocal. The human mind is a blessing because you have the ability to understand that there is self-loath, there is self-judgment, there is all kinds of difficulties, and one is not able to enjoy oneself. That there alone this discriminative ability exists, and that alone has to be understood, that alone has to be repaired. And so, therefore, the reason why you have a buddhi is to focus on this knowledge. If not full time, at least part time, at least part time. Between running after, again, things that come to an end, between running after thing number one and thing number two, in between, there is time to focus on this, at least part time. And so this buddhi is just given for this. And therefore, if one doesn't use it, then the whole human life is a total, utter waste, according to the Shastra, no matter what your accomplishments. Oh, but how can you say that my gold medals are wasted? Well, you know, because even after the 10 gold medals, you still are searching. That's how you, I'm not saying that. You yourself, your actions are demonstrating that. Even after reaching the pinnacle of success, you are still seeking. You are still wanting more. You want to accomplish more. You want to do more because you think that by doing, you will get this contentment that is you, that is already centered on the self. This is how it is very evident. And so, a person who is not disturbed by extremes, physical, mental, etc., and that person is called dhira. Dhi means, dhi is a short form for buddhi. Dhihi rati dadati iti dhiraha. So the person has enough buddhi to know that this is what I have to pursue, and also the person has enough buddhi to share with others when it is appropriate. So the person comes to the Gita class and drags the unwilling significant other. Okay, and so that is one example of what is that? Buddhi, dhira. So the one you need not share Vedanta, but to be adhira. The be adhira means there is enough space within oneself to be able to see that other people's shortcomings are also because of their background. Some understanding, some emotional maturity is there. So that is dhira. And Adi Shankara, as we will see, just translate the word dhira as dhiman. Yeah, dhiman, the one, dhihi asya asti, the one who is endowed with a brain, is called dhira because the brain has to be made use in a particular way. Okay, so this dhira And this dhira is in apposition with purusha. So they're all, they're all the object of this, this sentence. So this dhira, this purusha, for whom these extremes do not disturb. And there is one more adjective qualifying this dhira. What is that? Samadukha sukhaha. Same dukkha sukhe yasya. Samadukha sukhaha. Tam samadukha sukham. So, samadukha sukhaha is not a condition of the mind. It is describing the person. It's a compound, a particular kind of compound that describes the person, not the mental condition. So, sama dukkha sukhe, sukham cha dukkham cha, you know, sukha dukkhe. This is again a small compound within a compound. And so, that, so we have two conditions here, dukkha and sukha. Together, since they are neuter, they are called dukkha sukhe. And then, for whom dukkha and sukha are sama, that person is called sama dukkha sukha. And so, for that person, sama dukkha sukham, who is dhira, who is of discriminative intellect, who is this purusha, who is this person, for the one who doesn't get disturbed by these afflictions, saha amritatvaya kalpate. That person can be said to be the one fit to gain this knowledge. Very beautiful. So here we are, this is an important verse for many reasons. Why is it an important verse? Reason number one, for the first time, we are seeing that this knowledge of the self, which is expounded by the Gita, like all other knowledges, has a precondition. Precondition means what? Prerequisite. So if you want to do a PhD, you should at least have gone to college. And if you want to do, if you want to do a graduate degree, you should at least have gone to high school or got the high school diploma. These are all prerequisites. And if you want to learn music, there are certain prerequisites. Algebra, trigonometry, there are prerequisites. At least you should be able to count. Okay, if you will want to learn mathematics, this is basic prerequisites. So here also, for this knowledge also, we are talking of certain prerequisites. Somebody who is composed in the face of difficulties, that is the prerequisite. Why? What is difficulty? What is the connection between the ability to face difficulty and the gain of oneself as free of all difficulties? What do they have to do with one another? Well, there is a very important connection. And what is that important connection? Because when you are able to not be completely swept away by the difficulties, the person is available for this knowledge. Number one. Number two, the connection between the ability to observe the difficulties and self knowledge is that the person has some space and has understood, at least on the everyday level, that I am not the body mind sense complex. And for such a person, the pursuit is now on a wonderful track. Why? Because you are pursuing that which is real, that which is you, which is real, which is what is going, which is the subject matter of the next verse in the Bhagavad Gita. So you're pursuing Sat, that which is real, which is you. Otherwise, you are embroiled in the world of Asat. What is Asat? That which is dependent upon the real, a dependent reality. Like the shadow that is dependent on you. You cast the shadow, just as you cast the shadow, So too this whole jagat is the which is full of names and forms is made evident by that awareness which is you alone. So, in that sense, the entire Jagat depends upon you for it to become evident. You, Satchidananda Atma, you, that presence called I, which you are able to observe and witness. And so, therefore, for these reasons, this prerequisite is there. And Vedanta is very, what should I say, clever. Vedanta Shastra is very clever. Upanishads are very clever. If you gain the knowledge, then you give all the credit to the Guru and the Gurus and the Parampara. Yes, Jai Ho, it is because of the Guru. And if you don't get the knowledge, it is because of you. Okay, so this is the fine print of Vedanta. You know, like when you buy an appliance, I used to be very amused when I first came to the States. To buy an appliance and it would say, like a toaster, please do not put it in the bathtub, and or put it immerse it in water. I would think, which person, which mudha, which deluded person is going to immerse an electrical appliance in water? But they have to take care of all these things, because this is a very litigious country, America is. And somebody goes to a coffee shop, and then they are drinking, they are working on the computer, talking to somebody, they're distracted, they drink the hot coffee, they burn their lips, and they are startled by how hot it is, and then it falls into their lap, they burn their leg, the thigh, and then they actually won the lawsuit. The cafe had to pay, because they said the coffee was too hot, and coffee or whatever beverage they had, and we were not told at all. And and then we were not told at all that this is going to be so hot. We did not know. What for the brains exist? I mean, if it's coffee, it's going to be hot. Naturally, unless you're ordering some iced coffee or iced tea, it's definitely going to be hot. But no. So that's why, it's a very litigious country. And so, therefore, all the small print is there. If you immerse it in water, the what the what's its name, the toaster and all these hair dryer, etc., the warranty is cancelled. You cannot then come and tell us. So your use of the product is what is what active the proper use of the product activates the warranty, not the improper use. And where did they get all this idea from? From Vedanta Shastra, because in Vedanta Shastra, if you gain this knowledge, you know, you say, oh, it's because of the grace of the Lord, of the Gurus. And then if you don't get this knowledge, read the fine print. No titiksha, no shraddha, no samadhanam, no, what is that, Shamadama, no uparati. Oh, what is this you're talking about? This is the famous six pack of Vedanta. Yeah, six pack, as in, as in as in somebody with a toned body. They say such a person has got rippling six pack abs. So, like that. So, this is a pack of six. This is a pack of six, and then this pack. You have to have a pact with this pack, and you have to make friends with this six pack. Nay, they have to become you. Pun intended. They have to become you. And so then when you have these prerequisites, then the atma, the knowledge of the atma shines. And so therefore this verse number 15 is a very apt and important segue to what is going to come in verse number 16. Because if you take a sneak peek, in fact, let us do that, okay? Yeah, just take a sneak peek into verse number 16, even though we shouldn't be doing that, but let us do that. Let's see what happens, न असतो न असतः विद्यते भावः न अभावः विद्यते सतः. The first line is enough to drive one crazy. And then, especially with a modern day translation, existence never becomes non-existent. Non-existent existence never become existent. And the one who knows the truth of both of these is the one who has self knowledge. That's the second line. The first line is itself enough to make one question one's sanity and also question one's pursuit. Am I, I just got dragged into these Gita classes, but is it really wise for my mental health to continue? That is what one starts to think after verse number 16. Okay. So, therefore, when we are still in the realm of verse number 15, where we are actually understanding what is being said, so therefore, this whole thing about preparation is being plugged in. What are this six pack? The six pack has to do with certain mental discipline, emotional training, to flex the muscles and to be strong in the face of calamity, adversity of various kinds that one cannot avoid. We are not talking of the situations that one can avoid, we are talking of the situations that one absolutely cannot avoid. So, what are they? Let us take Dhamma first. Dhamma means, the Bahyendra Nigraha. Iti Damaha. So, Indriya Nigraha, the ability to manage the organs of actions. Bahyendriya means the organs of actions. Starting, of course, with speech. We forget that speech is an organ of action. So, when you look at a small child, another child comes, you're just watching them. Another child comes and snatches the toy of the first child. And what does the first child do? Gives it a nice biff. and, and then starts to cry for good measure. And so, this is the reaction of a child for whom this Dhamma is not a concept that is with which it is familiar. It's hurt, it wants to retaliate, it wants to show that it is extremely aggrieved. So, you took away my toy, you are a bad child, and then I'm going to push you to the ground. Snatch back the toy. This is this is the inkling, the instinctual ways of being, which Adi Shankara calls bestial buddhi, not best buddhi. You have to bestial buddhi, a remnant of previous lives. When one was roaming in the forest, asserting oneself and defending oneself against predators. This is the kind of buddhi that one is born with, and then with upbringing, socialization, etc. One learns to let go of the buddhi, because in the human upadhi, in the human body, mind, sense complex, when one is born, one is able to let go of this buddhi. Prakrita buddhi, nature made buddhi, is to is to shout, is to curse, is to hit. This is all what is called, lack of dhamma. But then with training, no, you can't have that. No, you can't do that right now. Why? Because this is not done right now. This is done later. And so the child is taught there is such a thing called public place and there is a private space. In the private space, you can rave and rant, but in the public space, it disturbs others. So you learn to live without causing disturbance as much as possible. But then, even though one is an adult, sometimes the difficulties in one's life are so challenging that this dhamma, or the ability to have a say over the organs of action, one loses it. That's what it's called. Even though one knows, one loses it. That's why we have so many, when you open the news, you have all these things there. Somebody hit somebody, somebody assaulted somebody, somebody took away somebody's possessions, somebody killed somebody, alas. Like that shooting that happened, 15-year-old fellow, I don't know what got into him. And so, like this is all lack of Dhamma. So this dhamma, the ability to manage the organs of action, is crucial to understanding this knowledge, because the knowledge only comes to a person who has a kind of a calm demeanor, a non-reactive person. Why should there be a non reactive person? Non reactive person is needed because the recipient of the knowledge, if the recipient of the knowledge is constantly reacting to whatever is being said, biffs the guru because they didn't like what the guru said, then so much for the knowledge. Guru will go away, and or the student will run away, and then there is not enough dhamma for that knowledge to take place. Dhamma gives inner space. And then on the heels of it is shama, the ability to manage the mind, the antahkarana, mind, buddhi, ahankara, all these things. The ability to manage that is called shama. In fact, Dama is easy because I feel like hitting somebody, but I don't. I clench my fists instead. I feel like yelling, but I bite my lips and tongue instead. I clench my teeth instead. And then what happens? All the feelings are swallowed up, swallowed up, swallowed up. And then we have what is called the pressure cooker effect. And when I was small, I remember this. This is what the pressure cooker effect in India looks like. Okay. So the neighbor came running and said, "Oh, the pressure cooker has exploded. Please come, please help." So I also went along with the mother, and then, you know, saw the kitchen was full yellow. And this is a house I had gone to play with, with the neighboring children many times. The kitchen was not yellow then. This was the effect of dal exploding all over the walls, and the lid of the cooker was stuck to the ceiling. The force with which it had exploded, and the whole stove and the kitchen counter, it was just amazing. It was as though I took a photograph. It is still, in the in the 7-year-old mind, that was a very powerful photograph taken, and I was just in awe. Oh, this happens. Oh, here's the thing. And then, and then the force with which it had gone, it made a hole in the ceiling, and the lid was lodged there. And then, that is how we got the expression blew the lid. Okay, yeah, this happens. And so, except here, lid is this lid. Okay. Because everything is stored, 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 stored. There is no outlet. Like the last straw on the camel's back. One innocent thing said by somebody, somewhere, somehow. What happens? It is too much. One loses it, one blows the lid. And so, what is Shama? Every pressure cooker, comes with what is called a safety valve. And this valve, makes sure that when the steam reaches a certain, volume, it sort of slowly deflects it. It lets some of it out, so that this kind of a situation of blowing the lid doesn't happen. A safe way of letting out steam, literally and figuratively, is shama. Shama for the pressure cooker is the safety valve, and Shama for the mind, the antahkarana, is the ability to express one's feelings without targeting oneself and without hurting another, without hurting yourself or another. So there are many ways: journaling and writing it out, talking it out, therapy. So many ways are there. Talking it over to a friend, going in nature and screaming. That's why ashrams are in faraway places. Yeah, because this is where one practices shama. And so one can go in the wilderness and then yell and scream, and a few birds are disturbed, but they'll get over it. Yeah. So and then so this is what is shama. So the shama and dhamma, they go together. And and then when this is practiced, you have an emotionally what should I say, prepared person, a person who has a lot of inner space, and the person who is not easily ruffled. What about the other four things that we will see next time? Then another question: when is next time? We will next week we are having some event for Bhagavad Gita Jayanti on Sunday. So in lieu of the Gita class, you can please log into that. I'm sending the links via chat pod. There is Facebook link, Instagram link, and some website and another Facebook link. Okay, so that is on Sunday night. So you can please log into that. Then we will be taking a little bit of a break from the holiday break for all the classes starting next week. Some travel is there, etc., for me, and so therefore, so we will come back in January. We will take a month break from the classes. Okay, yeah. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ Shatashloki class will be there tomorrow, okay? The break doesn't start now. I'm just talking of next week. Om Namah
Thank
Shivaya. Om.
Hari Om Swamiji.
All the
Thank
best.
you
Take
so much.
care.
Thank you,
Pranam.
Swamini.